Let me tell you about a moment that changed the way I think about money forever. It happened to a guy named Marcus. He had been at the same company for 4 years. 4 years of good reviews, of staying late, of being the person everyone called when something went wrong. And then one day, he decided it was time to ask for a raise. He walked into his manager's office with a number in his head, practiced it in the mirror, had all his achievements written down. He sat across from his boss, took a deep breath, and said, "I was thinking maybe a 5% increase." His boss looked at him, paused for a second, and said, "Let me see what I can do." A week later, Marcus got 3%. And here's the painful part. He said thank you. Because what Marcus didn't know, and what most people never learned, is that negotiation isn't about being aggressive. It's not about having a script. And it's not even about how good your achievements are. It's about one thing: power. Specifically, who needs the deal more. And today I'm going to show you exactly how negotiation actually works, why most people lose before they even open their mouth, and the rules that quietly determine every financial outcome in your life, from your salary to your rent to the price of your next car. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see negotiation completely differently. The real reason most people lose negotiations. Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Most people don't lose negotiations because they asked for the wrong number. They lose because they walked in already defeated. And the reason they were defeated? They needed the deal more than the other person did. Think about Marcus again. He needed that raise. He was emotionally attached to the outcome. His entire plan was ask politely, hope for the best. He had no backup, no leverage, no plan B. And his boss could feel that. This is what psychologists call need-based weakness. When you're desperate for a specific outcome, you signal that desperation without even realizing it. Your body language changes. Your voice gets softer. You hedge your ask. You say maybe instead of I want. The first rule of negotiation is this: the person who needs the deal less has all the power. This is why experienced negotiators always come to the table with what's called a BATNA. That's a best alternative to a negotiated agreement. It simply means, what do you do if this deal falls apart? If you have a strong alternative, you negotiate from confidence. If you have no alternative, you negotiate from fear. And fear is the most expensive emotion in any financial conversation. The anchoring game. Now let's talk about something that's happening every time you negotiate, whether you're aware of it or not. It's called anchoring, and it's one of the most powerful forces in human decision making. Here's how it works. When you walk into a car dealership and the salesperson says, "This car is listed at $42,000, that number becomes the anchor. Every counteroffer you make is now mentally measured against that number. Even if the car is actually worth $35,000, your brain is negotiating around 42. Studies from Harvard Business School found that whoever states the first number in a negotiation has a statistically significant advantage. The anchor shapes the entire conversation that follows. Most people are afraid to name a number first. They think it's rude or too aggressive, or they might ask for too much. But by waiting, they hand over the single most powerful tool in the entire exchange. The second rule is, always anchor first and anchor high. If you're asking for a salary, don't wait for the company to tell you their range. Give them your number first. Make it ambitious, but justifiable. Because even if they push back, every conversation that follows happens in the orbit of your number, not theirs. Silence is a superpower. Here's a rule almost nobody talks about. but it might be the most important one on this entire list. Learn to shut up. After you make an ask, stop talking. Don't explain it. Don't justify it. Don't fill the silence with nervous chatter. Just wait. Silence creates psychological pressure. When there's a pause in a conversation, the human brain wants to fill it. And in a negotiation, whoever fills that silence first usually makes a concession. Sales trainers have a saying that's been repeated for decades: he who speaks first after the ask loses. It sounds simple, but in practice, almost nobody can do it. Because silence feels uncomfortable, it feels like rejection. So we rush to rescue ourselves from the discomfort and end up rescuing the other person instead. The third rule: after your ask, silence is your strongest move. Practice it. Whether you're asking for a discount, a better rate, or a higher salary, say your number and then wait. Even if it takes 10 seconds, even if it feels unbearable. Let the other person respond first. Why we are wired to negotiate badly. Here's the deeper psychological truth behind all of this. Human beings are wired to avoid conflict. Evolutionarily, being rejected from the group was dangerous. Social harmony kept us alive. So our brains developed a deep discomfort with anything that feels like confrontation. Negotiation feels like confrontation, even when it isn't. So we soften our asks. We apologize before making requests. We take whatever is offered because saying no feels dangerous. We confuse agreeableness with politeness and politeness with weakness. Here's the insight. Negotiation is not a fight. It's a conversation between two people trying to find the most favorable terms for both sides. When you frame it that way, the fear shrinks. You're not attacking anyone. You're just advocating for yourself. There's also something called the scarcity principle at work. On the other side, when you negotiate from strength, when you signal that you have options, that you could walk away, you become more desirable, more scarce. Counterintuitively, showing you don't desperately need something makes other people want to give it to you more. Think about it in dating. The person who is too eager gets overlooked. The person who seems genuinely confident and has other options, everyone wants their attention. The same psychology applies to salary discussions, business deals, and even rental agreements. Landlords negotiate harder with someone who says, "I've only seen this one place," than with someone who says, "I'm viewing 3 other apartments this week." Let's pull this all together. These are the 4 rules of negotiation that will quietly reshape every financial conversation you have. Rule 1. Build your BATNA before you negotiate. Never enter a negotiation without an alternative. If you're asking for a raise, start interviewing elsewhere first. If you're buying a car, get quotes from 3 dealerships. If you're renewing a lease, research comparable apartments. Your alternative is your power. Don't show up empty-handed. Rule 2. Anchor first, anchor high. Don't wait for the other person to name a number. Do your research, know your market value, and state your number first. Make it ambitious. You can always come down. You can't easily come up. The anchor sets the ceiling of the entire conversation. Rule 3. Use silence strategically. After you make an ask, stop talking. Count to 10 silently if you have to. Let the other person respond. This one move alone can recover thousands of dollars in negotiations that people otherwise concede away just to escape discomfort. Rule 4. Make it easy to say yes. The best negotiators don't just push hard. They also make the path forward feel good for the other side. Acknowledge their constraints. Offer creative solutions. If they can't give you a higher salary, ask for extra vacation days, remote flexibility, or a performance review in 90 days. Negotiation isn't just about the number. It's about the total value of the deal. A practical exercise. The next time you buy anything, even something small, try asking for a better price. Not aggressively, just ask. Is there any flexibility on this? You will be surprised how often the answer is yes. The skill is a muscle, and most people never even try to use it. Marcus, the guy from the beginning of this video, he did eventually get that raise, but it took him another 2 years. What changed? He started interviewing. Not because he wanted to leave, but because he needed to know what he was worth in the open market. He got 2 offers, and suddenly when he walked back into his manager's office, the conversation was completely different. He wasn't asking, he was informing. He walked out with a 22% increase. Same person, same company, same manager, different power dynamic. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. Every financial outcome in your life, your salary, your rent, the interest rate on your loans, the price of your next car, is the result of a negotiation. Most of them are negotiations you didn't know you were in, or negotiations you lost before they started. You are already negotiating. The only question is whether you're doing it well. The rules are simple. Build your alternatives. Anchor first, embrace the silence, and make it easy for the other person to say yes. Because the best deals in life don't go to the loudest person in the room. They go to the most prepared one. If you found this useful, share it with someone who's about to negotiate something important. And if you want to go deeper into the psychology of money and how to make smarter financial decisions,